They thought the dog was just for comfort, until the child made a subtle hand gesture, and the dog exposed the truth no one had dared to say aloud. The courtroom in Toledo, Ohio, felt too big for her. 8-year-old Liana Mitchell sat straight in her chair, feet dangling above the floor, hands wrapped tightly around the leash of her golden retriever, Cooper. Her braids were freshly done, and the pink barrettes clicked softly whenever she moved her head. She didn't say much. She didn't fidget. She just sat there, still and watchful, almost too composed for a child about to speak about something no child should have to understand. Next to her, Cooper didn't move either. He sat close, eyes half closed, his warm body pressed against her leg. Most people assumed the dog was just there to calm her nerves, to help her feel safe in this intimidating space. And sure, that was partly true. But there was more to it, much more. Judge Malcolm Barnes glanced down from the bench. He was in his 60s, with thinning gray hair and glasses that slipped down his nose. He'd seen a lot over the years: gang cases, family court heartbreaks, even high-profile criminal trials. But something about this little girl had his full attention. Maybe it was the quiet focus in her eyes. Maybe it was the dog. Or maybe it was the fact that no one, not even the defense attorney, had made her flinch. The room was full. Not packed, but full enough that murmurs rose whenever someone leaned in to whisper. To the left sat the defendant, Dennis Bragg, a man in his late 40s, with neatly combed hair, a pressed shirt, and hands folded too perfectly in his lap. His lawyer kept tapping a pen against the table, waiting for cross-examination. Liana hadn't looked at Dennis once. Not yet. Her mother, Rochelle Mitchell, sat 2 rows behind her, silently clutching a tissue in one hand and a small gold cross in the other. She hadn't spoken since they entered the courthouse. She just kept her eyes on her daughter, waiting for the moment to pass, terrified it wouldn't. Judge Barnes finally cleared his throat. "Miss Mitchell, are you ready?" Liana turned to her court-appointed therapist, who gave her a soft nod from the front bench. Liana didn't smile back. She gave a single nod. "Yes, Your Honor," the therapist answered for her. "She's ready." The judge nodded and turned toward the bailiff. "Bring the witness." A door to the side opened. 2 officers stepped into view. The man accused of changing Liana's life forever walked slowly to the stand, trying to appear relaxed. But his eyes flicked toward Cooper. And Cooper, who had been entirely relaxed until that point, lifted his head. Liana didn't flinch, but her grip on the leash tightened. The prosecutor, Dana Kessler, stood. She adjusted her jacket and began. "Mr. Bragg, can you tell us where you were on the evening of July 9th? Dennis leaned into the microphone. "At home. Watching TV. Alone. And you expect us to take your word for that?" He leaned back. "I'm telling the truth." From the gallery, Rochelle's hand closed around her tissue again. Liana didn't look at him, not directly. But her breathing changed. Controlled. Intentional. The questioning continued. Timelines. Locations. Then came the photos. The ones no one should ever have to show in court. Liana lowered her eyes. Cooper leaned into her. The room grew quieter. Not from what was said, but from what wasn't. Dennis shifted. "She's making it up," he said, cutting off the prosecutor. "That dog, he's trained to react. This whole thing is a setup." That's when Liana raised her hand. Slowly, she placed it behind her back. 2 soft taps. Barely noticeable. Cooper's ears perked. No one in that room was ready for what he did next. 2 months earlier, in a backyard in Macon, Georgia, Liana had sat in a folding chair watching Cooper chase a tennis ball. The late sunlight bathed everything in gold. Her aunt, Denise Lawson, stood nearby, arms crossed and smiling. Denise was tough. A retired K-9 handler who'd worked narcotics units in Houston. But around Liana, her edges softened. She knelt beside her niece. "You sure you want to do this, baby girl?" she asked. "We don't have to. Not if you're not ready." Liana didn't answer right away. She looked at Cooper lying in the grass, tail thumping. Then she whispered, "I don't want him to look at me. Ever again." Denise nodded. "Then we teach Cooper how to watch for you." It started small. Games. Signals. 1 tap, Cooper stayed. 2 taps, he moved forward, placed himself between her and whoever was in front of her. They practiced daily. Liana was quiet but focused. Cooper learned quickly. Calm, smart, and loyal. When she tensed, he moved closer on his own. They became a team. Denise would sit on the porch, sometimes jotting notes, sometimes just watching. One evening, after a session, she sat beside Liana. "In court, they might not believe you," she said. "Adults get scared. They don't like being wrong. What if I mess up?" You won't. And if you freeze? That's why Cooper's there. He won't let them forget what he sees. There was a pause. Then a question from Liana. Do you think he remembers what he did to me? Denise took a breath. Maybe not like you do. But people like him, they remember enough to fear the truth. The day before court, they ran one last session. Denise wore sunglasses and spoke in a harsh tone to mimic a lawyer. It wasn't perfect, but it helped. Liana gave Cooper the signal. He responded, unshakable. You're ready, Denise whispered. Back in Toledo, the real test had begun. Cooper hadn't moved since the double tap, but his body shifted from relaxed to alert. Head high, chest forward, eyes locked on Dennis Bragg. Dennis noticed. He leaned away slightly. The prosecutor, Dana, continued. Mr. Bragg, you stated you've never met the minor in this case. Isn't that right? Correct. Never spoken to her. Never seen her before. The room hushed. Tension settled like dust. Judge Behrens leaned forward. Dana turned to Liana. Do you feel safe right now? Liana didn't speak. She touched Cooper's back. A low growl vibrated from the dog's throat. Almost inaudible. Dennis blinked. Dana remained calm. Cooper was trained specifically for her protection by a certified handler. He's not reacting to nerves. He's reacting to behavior. The defense attorney jumped. Objection. Speculative. Judge Behrens lifted a hand. Sit down, Mr. Geller. You'll get your turn. Dana retrieved a folder. With the court's permission, I'd like to present a video from Liana's therapy sessions. Granted. The screen rolled down. The video showed Liana and Cooper in the backyard. Denise played the role of a stranger. One tap, Cooper stayed. 2 taps, he moved forward, posture alert, protective. The room was still. Judge Behrens looked at Dennis. I've seen trained animals, but never a dog respond like that in real time. Liana finally looked up. Calm. Soft. He never talks loud. He just whispers, she said. Who? Dana asked gently. She pointed. Him. The room held its breath. Dennis stood abruptly. This is a setup. You're letting a child and a dog decide my fate. Cooper stepped forward. The judge pounded his gavel. Enough. Dennis slumped back into his seat, face pale. The jury stared. Cooper returned to Liana's side. The truth was no longer hidden. It was in the air. Unspoken, but undeniable. Judge Behrens recessed the court. Denise gave a subtle nod from the gallery. You don't owe anyone loudness, she told Liana once. Truth doesn't always scream. Sometimes it just stares. Cooper stared. Dennis unraveled. When court resumed, Dana called Detective Margot Lynn to the stand. Margot confirmed Dennis had volunteered at Liana's school. He'd been alone with her. He wasn't supposed to be. The jury shifted. Dana produced a child's drawing. Liana had drawn Dennis weeks before any proceedings, glasses, shirt, jawline. And Cooper beside her. How did she draw a man she never met? Dana asked. Dennis stammered. I don't know. She's confused. But the courtroom doors opened. A teacher's aide, Monica Sayers, entered. She identified Dennis. Said she'd filed complaints years ago. They were ignored. Cooper barked once. Dennis flinched. The jury noticed. When deliberation ended, the verdict came swiftly. Guilty. On all counts. Judge Behrens turned to Liana. You didn't say much today, but you said more than most adults ever could. And I believe you. He looked at Cooper. If I had a medal, he'd be wearing it. Later, outside, Rochelle shielded her daughter from reporters. No questions today. We're just going home. In the car, Liana asked, will he go away forever? Rochelle glanced in the mirror. I don't know, baby. But he won't hurt you again. At home, Liana followed Denise out to walk Cooper. Can I come? You don't have to. I want to. As they walked beneath a pale sky, Liana asked, do you think other kids are scared like I was? Denise nodded. More than we think. Can we teach other dogs, too? Denise looked at her. Yeah, I think we can. 2 weeks later, the school district announced new safety policies. Anonymous reporting. Therapy dogs. Background checks. It was a start. In the months that followed, they opened weekend training sessions. They called it Seniors, Liana's idea. Every Saturday, kids came. Some talked. Some didn't. But they showed up. So did Cooper. And Liana? She stood at the front, giving clear directions. No mic needed. She didn't need praise. She just needed to know that one day, one person might believe a child a little sooner. One evening, as they closed up, Denise asked, do you ever wish that day in court had gone differently? Liana shook her head. If it didn't happen like that, nobody would have seen who he really was. By the gate, they stood under the painted sign, Señals, with a red paw print where the A should be. You turned something terrible into something that helps people, Denise said. Liana looked at Cooper. He helped me first. He blinked up at her, tail wagging gently. Sometimes, the quietest voices echo the longest, especially when someone, or something, stands beside them without question. Listen closely, especially to children. Believe them. You might be the only one who does.